she's a legend. She's iconic. So, Elizabeth, can you share a little bit about yourself before we get started, please?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Bright and early for y'all. Um,
Morning.
I was sending off an amendment because yes, I'm very much in production alongside all of you. So thanks for your patience. I'm Elizabeth Riley. I'm out of Austin, Texas. I have been in the business in May. It'll be 21 years. 11 of those years have been with EXP, which is insane to think about because it feels like just yesterday when we got up and running with this little tiny company that everybody thought we were crazy for starting. I just this week hit my 11th icon, which is really cool. So hasn't even been formally announced yet. I thought it was my closing on Monday that was going to get me there, but I was pleasantly surprised. And so I'm an individual agent, but I have a self-organized team where I have two other agents that are dear friends. We're all individual agents behind the scenes. We all do our own production and just help each other as a referral group, if you will. But we have the Lux Property Group here in Austin. And I'm excited to share some time with y'all today.
Awesome. Well, this is going to be a collaborative Atomic Habits. So I want you all to show your face. So unmute and click your camera so we can see you all. Okay. And so, Elizabeth, I'd love for you to just, if you could share the three things that you feel that you would attribute your success. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm just going to limit it to three. If you could kind of share, what do you attribute your success? Let's start with that.
That's always a fun question. Put me on the spot for sure. Okay, the three things I would say, number one is consistency. I'm very consistent in what is authentic to me. I say a lot of times comparison kills joy. There's a lot of shiny things. There's a lot of success that everybody succeeds differently. I remember when I first got into the business, I was told I had to knock on doors, cold call, and do open houses to be successful. And I will tell you, after 21 years in the business, I've never cold called, I've never knocked on a door, and I've never done an open house. So you don't have to believe everything everybody tells you, right? Because we all just succeed in our own way, as long as you figure out what's authentic to you and be consistent with that. I think that's the first thing. Number two, relationships. I think if you build the relationship in whatever you do, whether it's production, whether it's attraction, no matter what part of your life, you're going to build the business. And so my business is 100% referral. It used to be mainly Sphere or past clients. It's now more 60, 40, 70, 30, maybe agent to agent referrals. So I just build the relationships, and whatever I do and the business will come. The third thing I would say is just being in different rooms and getting myself in the right rooms. And if I'm not in the right rooms, I'm going to move rooms. And if there's not a room to move to, I'm going to create a room. But I'm always learning. I don't want to be the big fish. When I left Keller Williams, I mean, Tom, you were number one in the world. I was not number one in the world. I was number one in Austin, in our market center. But still, that's very lonely at the top. And nobody was really pouring into me. And you don't really grow if you're in those rooms, and you get complacent. And that's the opposite of growth. And so I would say the third thing is I just put myself in different conversations in different rooms. And that's part of what's important to me still to today.
Well, those are great pillars. I'd love to unpack those. So the first one, consistency. Oh my gosh. What do you do when you don't feel like doing what you really need to do? Because, you open the encyclopedia consistency and you see your face in that page there. What do you do, and how do you stay consistent when you don't really want to?
Sometimes I fail at it, right? We're not perfect. It's failing forward and not beating yourself up, but I break things down. One of the I'm old school. I think we're in an era of loudness. Everything is loud, right? Everybody's posting it. Everybody's crushing it. Everybody's killing it. But behind the scenes, that's really not the case. And I think a lot of us can get caught into that. And so what I just have to do is I have to ignore the noise and just break it down into little things. So Old school as in handwritten notes. Old school as in I send things out once a month to my database. I go invite them to tea or coffee. I know AI is big. Most people don't have trust in things these days. They want to get back to the basics, right? And so I do a lot of handwritten notes. So just break it down. Do 5 a day. One of the things that I do a lot is we're all on social media in some way, right? Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And I talk about the 3 C's. Congratulate, compliment, or console. Go into your Instagram or your Facebook each day. Find 5 people to engage with, not just a like, not just a sad face. If somebody's dog dies, oh, not sad face. I mean, write a handwritten note. I'm so sorry your dog died. I know that, Moses was really a big part of your life. And depending on where the relationship is, I'll go to Etsy or something like that. So I take it beyond social media to build that relationship. But you have to just do a little bit each day because you guys probably aren't like this, but I'm like this. If I look at the really, really, really big picture, I get overwhelmed and I do nothing. And so I just have to break it down. Even if I don't do if I don't do 5 notes one day, I'm going to do 10 the next. But just don't beat yourself up. You don't always have to be in motion. We always need a break. We always need to step back, and you just need to I always say meet somebody where they're at. Well, you have to meet yourself where you're at too, and you have to give yourself grace. So I just break things down, and it's a joke, but it's really true for me. I take it 1 hour at a time. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, how do you do?" I was like, "I take 1 hour at a time. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist." And I used to let everybody else control my schedule. I think that's a big thing too. You just need to make sure you're in control of your schedule. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist. I block off time that's important for family. I don't let people interact with that. And I'm going to be more selfish with my time than I have been in the past. And so I would just say, don't beat yourself up. Just know what you need to do and figure out how to get there and just break it down.
Well, that's awesome. So I'd like someone else to ask a question or a nugget while I share that many of the keys that you brought to light here, I heard a long, long time ago. And the 4 keys for me is always, well, number 1 is mindset, think big, growth minded, constantly learning and growing. And I love the fact that you also believe in mindset, Elizabeth. Number 2 is how we spend our time. Have to be extremely disciplined, doing the right things in the order. The 3rd is who we spend our time with. Like Jim Rohn says, we're the sum total of the 5 people we spend most time with. And then the last, it's just Tony Robbins, take massive focused action. So I'd like someone else to jump in rapid fire and share a nugget or an aha or ask a question. Let's go.
Yeah, Elizabeth, in our company of 85,000 agents or so, I think you might be the only person in the top 10 organizationally that's also a producing icon.
Yeah.
So how is it that you time block for those 2 achievements? To be able to reach the top in one thing is challenging, but to be able to do it in 2, what does that look like from a time block perspective?
Yeah, great question. I'm going to take the word trying out. I'm working on creating different systems because the way I treat my clientele, that's my business over here, but my agent organization is another business. And I approach both the same, like it's the relationship, right? It's, I want to love on people. I'm creating rooms. I'm creating situations where we can all lift each other as we climb. What happened was I used to be kind of that main person everybody would come to. I realized I don't need to have all the answers. I don't need to be that person. And so I've got a lot of people that are raising their hand, or I'm pushing forward, or I see the potential that they don't necessarily see in themselves. I'm like, oh my gosh, let's do something bigger. So for the production side, I've got, like I said, I've got my self-organized team, which these are 2 friends of mine that we've been friends since our kids were little bitty. And one has more experience than me. They don't want to do what I do. And I think before I used to find people that were like me. Right? You don't want all the same personalities. It doesn't work. You've got too many strong personalities, too many cooks in the kitchen. And so what we've done is, and it works really well, it's just the 3 of us. And then I've got my operations director who's been with me for 15 years as a TC, and she's kind of built up into that role. And then I've got two VAs, but they do the things I don't want to do. And so now on my listings, I always have somebody on my listings. Leanne's always on my buyers. Meredith's always on my listings. And we have a system where we put ourselves forth where it's both of us, because most of it's the relationship with me, but they're going to be my boots on ground. So it's created freedom in a different way and leverage, because they don't want to travel all over. They don't want to do masterminds like this. They don't want to be on stages. Whereas that's where a lot of the business comes from. And I like that because I have seen what we've done with EXP, and it's been such a blessing. They're very transactional. They don't want to do these things. So when you find the right people to align with, then that helps free that up. And so now they're helping a little bit with my business. I don't know what they did because we don't combine our numbers. Last year I did 25 million. I don't need to do 25 million. And people ask me, why are you in production? Well, because we're a real estate company. And to your point, I'm probably the only one in production. I can speak differently, right? To people when they're coming to me and having conversations, and they know that I know what they're dealing with because I'm an agent. I'm in the field. I'm doing the same challenges. I'm expressing. I mean, it just is a different conversation, and it's authentic to me. So I'll always be in real estate, but I don't have to do as much. And then I can bless other people, right? And what that looks like. On the organizational side, I was trying to be everything and do everything. Now, here's the funny thing. You guys probably hear your upline matters. Well, I'm old school from the days where we're all EXP. I don't have an upline. Well, I do have an upline, but Glenn's a little busy, right? So, which is awesome. So if you don't have the resources or the rooms that you can be in, you create them. And so I was doing everything until all of a sudden the people that were coming into my ecosystem were like, oh, I want to help too. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. So now I have those generals that are in production, or they're in my community, and they're building people up. And we've got this one group. We've got a group in our WhatsApp group. It's called the Badassery. It's all the females in Austin. I don't care what organization they're in. We don't care what groups they're in, but we're all there to support each other. So I'm not doing the heavy lifting alone. That's, I think, the key. You don't have to do the heavy lifting alone. And I thought I did. I thought that I had a responsibility, and I do. I have an opportunity and an obligation and a responsibility, but I don't have to do everything and be everything for everybody, because you'll get burned out, and you need to show them the tools and the resources and get them engaged in that way, because otherwise they're going to depend on you too much. And once you disappoint, then you don't have the loyalty or the longevity, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to back off of production a little bit, although that's the core of who I am. And I don't know what I would do without doing. I mean, I had 3 listing appointments yesterday. I'm running around with my hair on fire this morning. I'm like, Tom, hold on a minute. I got to get this amendment out. Like, that's just what I do. So, sometimes I don't do it well, but I'm allowing other people that are raising their hands to step into their power and step into their gifts. And it's been a lot more fun for me, because now I'm not having to do this. Being on the top of an island by yourself is very, very boring. It's like, let's pull everybody else up and let's see what we can do. But surrounding yourself with people that have different gifts, they want to help. Does that make sense?
It does. And one thing that I heard that is a little bit different from what I've heard with other even boutique teams is, did I hear you say that you take one of your agents on your listing appointments with you? So the client is viewing you guys as partners from day one.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the challenges that happens in our business is that you have this team lead that will go out and list it, but then you never see him or her again.
Right.
And if you're running a relationship business like you are, then that becomes a challenge, because they feel like they got put off onto the second-class citizen, right?
Right.
So I think that's really wise that you're bringing that individual that's going to be running that with that client the majority of the time, I presume. And they're seeing that as part of the upfront package.
Well, and to your point, we did it the other way before, and it didn't go well. And for that exact reason, we're like, okay, what do we need? I failed a lot, y'all. And that's what's so cool about failure. I think there's more lessons in the failure than not. And we can all learn from each other's failures. I learn more from other people's failures than their success. Like, I want to know what you did, how you did it. I don't have to recreate the wheel, or how we can collaborate and do something different. And so for me, exactly what you said, what we do now is Meredith and I go. I mean, like I said, yesterday we were at all these listing appointments, and it's super fun, and we're returning calls and we're friends, right? But when Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you've got both of us, you've got our team, but we're both here. And then we have a group text message that we set up with the address. All of them are on there, and we let them know, look, if Meredith's in a meeting and you can't reach her, you can get Elizabeth. This is why we have this group text message. They don't need to know that more often than not, Meredith's going to chime in, right? But it still looks like a united front. And then they feel like, oh, I get two agents. I have two listing agents instead of just the one, right? So it gives us an opportunity against the competition and the tools that we have. By the way, if you guys are like eXp Luxury, I beat listings out left and right. I lost one yesterday. I lost the listing, and I know why I lost the listing, because I didn't follow the process that I know works. Somebody called me. It was a referral from a past client. Somebody called me and said, hey, so-and-so referred you. And I was like, can you talk? I should have right then set the appointment to get in front of them, get on a Zoom, send out my pre-marketing stuff, doing all the things that I know I need to do. And I didn't do that. Like, I was busy. I got caught off guard. I was like, whatever. And I didn't show up in the way that I knew. And I lost the listing. And that was a wake up call for me, because I've gotten comfortable. Right. So, but if you position it well enough and you set that expectation with the sellers or the buyers in advance, like Leanne, I have not been in a car, y'all, with a buyer in 6 years. I close buyers all the time. I'm doing a final walkthrough on a $4 million buyer today, because I mean, that's a big one, but but I set the expectation up front. And so now Leanne loves that, though. She loves being in the car with the buyers. I'm an introvert. I don't want to sit there and do small talk all day long. So we find each other's strengths, but it's how you position it with the client. And then they don't feel like they're getting less than, they're feeling like they're getting in addition to, oh, I get two. But we learned that the hard way. So yeah, it works really well for us. And that's not going to work for everybody. And maybe as I step back a little bit more, it'll be more of them front and center. But right now, it works. And so until it doesn't, I'm not going to change it.
Well, that's great. Okay. Who's up? Got a question? Let's go. Rapid fire.
I'd like to jump in if I can real quick here. This is a great segue from what you've already been talking about. My face is stuck so tight against the ceiling right now, I can hardly breathe. I mean, I'm absolutely in the weeds right now. And I run that same relationship style of business. I mean, these people are hiring me. I've got a client right now where I got a listing under contract in a neighborhood, and they called me off the sign because they wanted to know how in the world I got this thing under contract for the price they want to get for their home. They've worked with two other realtors that they haven't been able to get that done. And really, truly, I just think it's just marketing. But they're hiring me. And even though, I get it as far as it all happens at the original listing agreement,
I don't want to see it.
Listing meeting appointment to manage those expectations as far as who's going to be working with them. I guess maybe my question is, how do you find the right people to that have the same level of dedication that you have or that I have to my clients? I completely botched a listing price the first time, and it was just horrible. And I called the client and said, look, I blew it. I'm sorry. And it's primarily because I just didn't have enough time to spend on that one client. So how do you find the right people that have the same dedication and work ethic that you have to hit a home run according to your expectations? Just how do you find those people?
Yeah. So for me, I never wanted to be boss. I didn't want a formal team. I didn't want a team. I didn't want to be a team lead. When we all came from KW, there were 9 of us that wanted to all be on this team together. And that's the first time when we could really market ourselves, right? And so that's when I started Lux Property Group, which actually I lost clients because they thought all I did was luxury then. So that was an education thing too, right? So everything is, again, a lesson. Listen for the lessons. So we had 9 of us come over. What we realized quickly, though, is that wasn't the right energy, wasn't the right fit. And so over time we'd have 7 and then we'd have 6 and then all these things. So Meredith and Leanne, like I said, I mean, my oldest is now, he just turned 20 last week, and we met in first grade. So we've been friends for a long time, and it just kind of took, 2008 when we all came over here, it's taken a long time. This didn't happen overnight. So sometimes you have to figure out this person's a great fit or where's their strength. Have you guys heard of The Working Genius? Okay. Scott, I would encourage you to read that book. It's a super short book, or get the Audible, but it's called The Working Genius. And here's the premise of it is there's 6 geniuses. It spells widget. There's wonder, intuition, discernment, galvanizing, enabler, and tenacity. We can all, as individuals, do all 6 of those. But in any 6, there's 2 that we lead with that are just like, I love this. This is not a job. There are 2 that are whatever, we can go either way. And then there's 2 that we absolutely hate. What I realized we were doing is we had a lot of people that had all the same gifts, the same geniuses, and we didn't have a balance. And so I would encourage you to find people, if you want to add to your team or add to your group that aren't a DXP, that's a huge opportunity for attraction, right? How easy. Hey, Dawn, this is Scott. I have watched you. I admire you. I've watched your business. I'd love to have a cup of coffee because I have some things I wanted to run by you and see if there could be a potential fit. I don't talk EXP at all, by the way. I have 71 people on my front line, y'all. I've never called one of them. I call them. I never called one of them to recruit them. The only person I called was Gene Frederick, but that was for wise counsel. That was never to recruit him. And we had 400 agents. He was never going to listen to me, right? But I needed wise counsel. So I don't talk about EXP when I'm talking to people. I get to know what's important to them. So, and I want to bring value to them. So find people, if they're within the company, great. But if they're not, that's an opportunity for you in a couple ways. And say, I really respect you. I think we could have some really good synergy here. And then I'd have them look at the Working Genius. What I realized was, what I thought people's gifts weren't. And this is really what their gifts are. Like tenacity is one of mine that I can do, but I'm not good at it. And so I've got somebody on or the disc profile. Think about the disc profile, right? I'm a very high S, D. Most people think I'm a high I. I'm very adaptive, but I'm an SD. I have no C in me whatsoever, but I need C in my ecosystem, right? And so Jen is my C. So it's finding the right personalities and not necessarily friendships, because friendships weren't getting us where we needed to go, and friendships added conflict, and it would change the relationships, because I was like, I want all my friends together and we're doing all these other things. But when you're in a working environment, it doesn't work that well. So I would encourage you to check out Working Genius for sure. And they've got little tests that you can run and buy with people and see if they're a good fit, and find those complementing geniuses that are going to get you to the goals that you want to create.
Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This is so super timely. Dawn, you're going to meet Rachel, and I did exactly the same thing. I just worked with a top producer here locally, and we just knew that we were jiving together. We had the same ethics. We had the same routines. So we partnered up. She came over to EXP, and actually last night we created like a little tagline that we're playing around with: 2 top producers, 1 powerful team.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're doing. We're showing up to these listing appointments together. Whoever is the lead takes the lead. The other one is supportive when needed, but they're getting 2 for 1. She, Dawn, you will love her. She was a team builder internationally before for a company. And she is explaining to me what we need is to bring on people that are better at something than we are. Not the same of us. Now we need to look for
your avatar next to
going to be better at stuff that we need.
Yes,
so I'm super excited. This is very, very timely for us. So you guys are all going to meet her in Cabo next week.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Looking forward to it. Yeah. Miriam, reach out to me so we can schedule a breakfast.
Yes. Well, we don't see you from the airport.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So, Elizabeth, my friend, big hugs. And quick, I've been there personally and been to your events, the AHA event in Austin, which I was incredibly impressed with. I think for those who don't know Elizabeth, you're one of the most genuine people that I've met, and you're really always looking out for the other person and how you can help them. Could you tie in how you do events? And because I was just blown away, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. So again, events came out of kind of necessity and creating the rooms that didn't exist. Right. So when we first started EXP, there were 400 agents nationally. But if you guys don't know, like way back 11 years ago, there were 400 agents nationally. And I mean, it was when I met with Glenn, he came into Austin to meet with me, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, you met with Glenn. He came to meet with you. I was like, hold on. They had 400 agents. My market center had 650. Right. It was a very different environment. And I joined for a number of different reasons. Glenn was a horrible recruiter, by the way. All he talked about was rev share. And I was like, nope, not interested in that. And I tell Glenn this all the time. I was dying on the vine. I was interested in collaboration. I was number one. Nobody was pouring into me. And I'm like, I want to get back to the basics and find my love again, because I was about to get out of the business. And so when I came to EXP, all of a sudden we're now collaborating with people all over the country. And then we started growing and things like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is super fun. I ignored the noise for the longest time because they didn't know what we were doing, and that was okay. And then when people would start saying, well, there's no community, there's no culture, there's no collaboration, I was like, you don't know because you're not a part of our ecosystem. And I actually have more connection and community and collaboration than I ever did at KW. And I loved KW. Like, don't get me wrong. They were the stepping stone to where I was, but I maxed and I couldn't get past that. Right. So you have to start somewhere. And I would never change my path because it was created for me for a reason. But then when people were saying, well, there's no culture and community, I was like, there is. But from the outside looking in, they couldn't see that and they could not understand that. Right. So from the inside, we're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so I said, well, we'll just start little groups. So we started EXP groups just around where we'd mastermind and what have you. Then COVID hits and nobody's getting together. Everybody's craving that connection. So after that, I'm like, okay, well, we got to get our events back together. And we were doing this in Total Wine, y'all. If you guys have Total Wines in your markets, I mean, they had a private little, not even a word, I don't even know what, like a training room, if you will, that had chairs and tables, and they would do a little wine tasting. I was like, I don't know, it's free. Free was free was free. I didn't care. And so but then COVID came back, or COVID opened up, and they weren't doing events there anymore. So I was like, okay, well, we'll still do small little masterminds. Then what started happening though is it was all production focused, because we had a lot of focus and a lot of negativity around recruiting. And the reality is other companies are going to create their own narratives, whether it's true or not. Right. And I love it. They're like, you're just a recruiting company. I was like, I heard that all at KW. And then I'm like 14% of agent, and you can go into all that, but perception's their reality. Okay. So we kept doing these meetings. And so I was like, well, we'll just create AHA clubs, agents helping agents. And it was all production focused. Then people would say, can we bring our friends? And it was also, okay, I'll be very transparent. It was also a counteract to lunch and learns. Lunch and learns work for some, but they don't really work. And they were hurting our market quite a bit, where people were like, oh, I'm not going to that because they're just going to lock you in a room and they're going to EXP on people. I tell people all the time, don't EXP on people. So my AHA club was like, we're going to lead with value. We're not talking EXP at all. I don't say I'm with EXP. I say I'm Lux Property Group, whatever. People started raising their hands saying, can we bring our friends? I'm like, I don't see why not. It's not a recruiting event. So what's happened though over time, again, this is consistency, y'all. Same place. I do it at the Austin Board of Realtors, and the boards don't allow you to recruit, right? So now what A Board does is they put our meeting on their calendar. It's that valuable, but it's been consistency in proving the model, proving that we're not recruiting, we're truly adding massive value. My AHA clubs, and I say but I don't succeed alone. We'll get anywhere from, depending on topic, 50 to 125 people every single month. And now what's happening is as people can invite their friends, and the friends are saying, wait a minute, our company doesn't do this. Why are your agents opening up their playbooks? And you guys talk like this all the time. I'm like, we all own the company. When you own something, you treat it different. I don't put anybody up on the stage That's not with EXP, right? I'm not putting anybody up there for a number of reasons. First of all, I don't want anybody to try and be swayed and follow, oh, they're over at Keller Williams. I like Patrick. I'm going to go over there. I want them to show the value of what we're doing, and people want to be able to share, but unless you're with us, you're not getting those perks, right? So last month, I mean, I don't even know what we did last month. I can't even remember, but, like ours is next week. It's the first Wednesday every month. It's consistent. I have a sponsor that comes in. We're bringing in CPAs, accountants, and other people talking about real estate structures, LLCs, S corps, all that thing next month. But those are just consistently going on. And so now that goes out to everybody, and it's turned into a massive recruiting opportunity. I don't like the word recruiting, attraction opportunity. Think recruiting, you're recruiting for your needs. Attraction, you're saying, how can we all help and row in the same direction? So we have more guests than not now. And they keep coming, and they're consistently coming, and it's different conversations. And we do it September through May. If you guys are interested in starting one in your model, in your market, I've got them all over the country now. In Hub, we used to have it in Workplace, but in Hub, we've got the AHA organizers. Just jump in there, and then we're going to start masterminds again on that. But it's been massive value for bringing agents to connections with our agent EXP community, but also for their guests. And it's not a sales pitch. They want to come. They're hungry for that. They're craving that connection and that education.
Love it.
Well, let's chat lead generation real quick. So we're not in the real estate business. We're in the lead generation business. So what marketing channels and lead generation tactics are working for you right now, Elizabeth?
Well, I think we're in the relationship business, Tom.
You got it. Yeah.
Consistent. I handwritten notes. I got a whole bunch of notes here. Like I send silly little things all the time. You know what? Here's what I've done. You guys see these in Target. I look for things like this, right? Have you guys seen like this in Target? Crush Your Goals. This is like a box of 20 or something like that. And they're all little motivational messages. This is stupid, but this is the kind of stuff I do. You want to know what I do? This is what I do. It's got an they're all different inspirational. And I just say, you're a rock star, Elizabeth. Or I'll write something on it and I send it to each one of my clients. Hey, I was thinking about you. Like people want to feel like they were thought of. That's why they like handwritten notes. So consistently, I'm sending stuff like that. I'm not sending just listed, just sold. They don't care. What can you send that makes them feel something, not you serving? I got a listing. I have a $2 million listing coming up. It might be more than that, but that they reached out to me. It was not a past client. It was not a referral. It's somebody I know in my ecosystem. And when I sat down, I was like, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. What made you decide to call me? And they're older, established in the community. And they said, we've watched you. We see you. We know what you're doing. And you serve, you don't sell. That was the biggest compliment I could have ever had. Right? So I'm sending things that make people feel like we have a connection. They don't care about stats. So I'm sending things like that every single month. Once a month, it's only 12, y'all. That's not hard to do. It can be whatever your personality is. March is super fun. I love March because I love March Madness. Here's a free one y'all can do. My dad played for Indiana State basketball. I love March Madness. Go to cbssports.com. In March, they set out all these free brackets. You can say the March Madness event with Lux Property Group. You can send them to all your clients and they can all create a free bracket, and you can run a free, I keep saying free because don't spend money until you're making money, and you don't need to always pay for shiny objects. You can set up a free bracket and have a March Madness contest for all your clients. Cool thing about that is your name keeps going in front of them for upsets, for score updates, all these things. You can't pay for that kind of exposure. And then you do first, second, and third. I put my energy behind things like that. But I do something like that every single month. I also leverage the tools we have at EXP, y'all. Oh my gosh. I don't care if you're sphere-based or if you're expired or open houses or whatever. And I don't care how long you've been in the business, if you're brand new or if you've been in the business longer than me. FastCap has been amazing. I'm watching agents. Francis is on here. I saw Francis. There's Francis. I got your note, by the way, darling. I will respond. But I'm fired up. She's all excited about FastCap. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be incredible to watch how they build on their foundations. One of my top agents who was number one in luxury for Coldwell Banker for 20 years, she's gone through it 4 times. I was like, why? She goes, I keep learning. I keep building. My foundation needs to always be reinforced. What worked then doesn't work now. Use the tools we have. REXP Luxury, I beat out listings all the time against Compass, against the luxury brands. Luxury is a mindset. I didn't get that listing yesterday because I didn't follow my protocol. I knew right after that I screwed that up. I knew better. I didn't want it as much as the other person wanted it. They wanted it more. They showed up better. That's on me. So use the tools we have at EXP. Open up, talk to people and open up their playbooks. Oh, the other thing that we do is we have an Austin mastermind once a week that all the top producers, we get on Zoom and we mastermind. Have those conversations, find out what other people are doing, shadow them, do open houses. We had some that created a whole open house. It's called the 04, which 78704 is a really cool area in our city. And they created something now, other companies and brokerages, it's like a brokerage tour thing, but it's now, there's structure behind it and it's super fun, right? They're creating opportunities, which is creating relationships. It's creating referrals. For me, I use the luxury stuff a lot. Our marketing tools in Canva, y'all, I was paying a bunch of money for that kind of stuff and graphics designers. I mean, EXP is making it way too easy. It's just you have to figure out what tools work for you and use those tools. And then when you outgrow those tools, put them back on the tool shelf. But don't feel like you have to do everything, but you have to do something.
Elizabeth, I want to go back to a comment you made a few minutes ago regarding Gene Frederick. You said, I went to Gene for wise counsel not to recruit him. And which I think was very wise in of itself. The thing that is interesting is that caused you to be able to then, attract, literally the GOAT, right, of recruiting. And what I wanted everyone to know is that's an interesting strategy. And it's one that Brent Gove also did. When he got in, the call that I got from Brent was, hey, Don, I know you've built a number of KWs. I really respect your opinion. Would you take a look at this for me? I'm considering this move. So he came for advice. He was actually maybe not quite as sincere as Elizabeth, but he was trying to attract me. But that was a strategy. And by the way, when you're building companies, they say, if you want to raise capital, go for advice. And if you go asking for money, you're probably going to get advice. So
that's true.
Okay. So listen to what Elizabeth is saying around if there's somebody in your life that you really look up to, that you would be intimidated to approach from a recruiting perspective because they're at a level that's 1 or 2 or 3 notches above, go to them for advice. They're going to want to help you.
Yeah. Well, and it's always funny because Brent does talk about that. And I was like, well, my strategy worked, although it wasn't a strategy. And for y'all that don't know, I'll tell you high level the story really quick. I was at EXP. I was at KW in Georgia first for a number of years. My husband and I were transferred to Austin, Texas in 2008, and Gene was not the team leader yet. I was on the ALC, and we were the ALC that actually voted in Gene and Tony to be our team leaders. That during that phase was so fun. We were growing and building, and the energy, and Gene and I would go to the real estate schools and we would do all these other things. And I was his top agent. I was one of his top, I think I was the top recruiter for the South, whatever region it was. I don't even care. I don't care about the trophies and the status and all that C-rap actually. But, because I was different. I wasn't recruiting people. I was bringing them in, but that killed me. That buried me because I was creating little mother hen and I'm trying to help all these agents. And we didn't have the tools and the resources and I was drowning, which is why I wasn't interested in recruiting or rev share when Glenn started talking to me about that. But people for years and years and years told me I was lucky for getting Gene. And for a long time, I thought I was lucky. And then I realized I wasn't lucky. I was prepared, right? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Glenn, my upline in Keller Williams in Georgia, they're the ones who reached out to me and said, hey, Elizabeth, you're licensed in 2 states. It's really expensive. We could all work together. Like, would you be open to a conversation? I'm like, I'll meet with anybody. I didn't even know who I was meeting with, but they'd built that relationship with me. And it wasn't until Glenn comes on board. Now everybody knows what EXP is about in EXP. But at that time, it was so foreign for what he was trying to do. And he and I met at a Regis, and he showed me the world and all the little avatars. I was like, I do not get this. Like, I have no idea. But what was interesting to me was the stock. I was like, tell me about the stock. And Stefan Swanepoel had written an article that I followed and I think is Real Estate Royalty that said the company to watch is eXp Realty. You don't know about them, but they're the Amazon.com of real estate. And I was like, what could that look like? Like if we had all bought stock in Amazon when they were trying to sell books online and we thought they were crazy, this is a different conversation, right? So I was like, this could be interesting. I had 10 baseball caps from KW that said capper. They don't pay the bills. He was going to do stock. And I was like, what if that worked? That could be really cool. And what if it doesn't? Well, if it doesn't, everybody needs me more than I need them. They all need top producing agents. So I went for the opportunity. When I went to Gene, though, I said, Gene, I don't know what I don't know. I've only been at KW. That's all I know for 10 years. By the way, my team leader in Georgia told me I was crazy. Don't do this. You're going to regret this. I was like, okay, again, I'm seeking wise counsel. I want to understand what everybody's telling me. I'm not blowing that off. Like, I took that to heart. But then when I sat with Gene and I met for 5 months. I was like, tell me what questions to ask. I'm meeting with this guy named Jason Guessing. I think he's a president or something. Like, what do I need to ask? I've never been a part of a company. And Gene had owned market centers. He had owned other companies. He had been in the industry for a long time. So after 5 months, and by the way, Gene was retired. So again, from the outside looking in, you never know who you're talking to because they make it look like everything's great. Gene had 7 market centers with Keller Williams and he was retired. Anybody would be like, oh my gosh, he's living the high life. But if you know Gene's going to get bored. And after 5 months of talking, again, never thought I'd recruit Gene. He said, you know what? I'm bored. I'm uninspired. I want to come out of retirement. Let's do this. And I go, what are you talking about? So he met with Jason and all the things. And he goes, you just have to talk Susan into selling our 7 market centers. And if you guys know Susan, she always smiles. She did not smile that day when we all sat down at dinner. And I love them to death. But what was fun at the very beginning is Gene and I were like, okay, we don't know what we're doing. There were 400 agents, y'all. I'm agent 466. But we were building something together. And that's why I'm so passionate about this company. And a lot of people don't have that legacy and they don't have that feeling because they don't know what it was to build something for the agents, by the agents, where we all own something together. We all own this company. The more we win, I don't care whose organization you're in, we all win together, right? So I think that's our opportunity. But I never approached Gene to recruit them. And they said, well, you're lucky. No, I wasn't lucky. I had proven myself for many years with Gene first. I was a top producer. I was consistent. I brought on people. I loved on people. He knew who I was. So I had earned that relationship, which allowed me to earn that conversation. Does that make sense? So my 71 people in the front line, like I said, I've only called Gene, but that was in a different way. But that transpired into now I've got, and Gene's only one of my 71. So I've got other big groups, but I've got almost 11,000 in my organization. By the way, 7.5 years later, my team leader in Georgia that told me I was crazy. Hey, Elizabeth, I've been watching you. I'm ready to talk. Talk about what? I didn't talk to him about real EXP. Come on, Riley. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk. Good old Southern boy. He's been with EXP and he's on fire. Right? So just because they say no, it might be no, not now, or it's timing on them. Just keep loving on them and pouring into them. Don't hound them. Do not chase them. Nobody wants to be chased. But when you add massive value, when you invite them to things, when you truly build that relationship, they're going to eventually want to come. Terrence Murphy, if you guys know him, massive. He had he did $1.8 billion in College Station, Texas, which is a small college town. Former NFL. He and I were friends for 4 years before he ever would talk about EXP with me. And he finally came over. So it's their timing, not ours. Just don't chase people. Nobody wants to be chased, but just add massive value. And so if you truly approach in curiosity and ask people a lot of questions, because if you to Don's point, like if you kind of go under, I mean, you were probably super flattered that Brent's like, hey, I want to get your opinion, right? People want to they want to feel important like that, which is great. But if you also do that and people feel like you're just doing it for your gain, you're going to fail every single time.
Well, this is great. Well, we're out of time. So, Elizabeth, thank you so much. So, y'all, I want you to take a look at your notes and take one thing that you wrote down and put it into action. The one thing that I wrote down is get in different rooms. So, I'm taking action. I'm going to Cabo. I hope you guys can go next week. Elizabeth, thank you so much. Y'all got your inspiration. Time to put in perspiration. There's no meeting next week. We'll be in Cabo, but we'll see you soon. Thanks, Elizabeth. See you guys later.
Thanks, Liz. Good to see you.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you. See you in Cabo.